All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Let me get Facebook up and running. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone on Facebook as well. Thank you guys for joining me here today. I've got Facebook, I've got YouTube, I've got Zoom, I've got all these technology pieces, but I don't have cameras on. That is a challenge when cameras aren't on. So, those of you who are here, welcome to the conversation. Welcome to the Dr. Rewire Sleep Challenge, where we're going to get you to sleep better, focus better, think better, get it, and live a better life. For those of you on Facebook, again, thank you guys for joining me. If you're interested in joining us in the VIP room and the VIP conversations, we're happy to invite you to be a part of that as well, where we're going to talk deeper and dive into questions, answers, and get into much clarity with it. So, for those of you who are here, thank you guys. How many people are realizing that their sleep and the way that they're thinking is starting to change? Put something in the chat box here. Raise your hands. All right. All right, for those of you who don't have your cameras on, I'm going to ask you to turn your cameras on because I don't like talking to non-camera screens. It doesn't help me. It feels like I'm talking to nobody. Imagine doing a Zoom call or having a FaceTime conversation and not having anyone to talk back to you or anyone to hear you, and you're just randomly talking away. That wouldn't be any fun, would it? No, that doesn't make it entertaining for me either. So that being the case, I'm going to ask you to turn your cameras on. It's important to me for us to be able to connect. So for those of you, if you're driving or you're naked, don't turn your cameras on. Okay, we don't like that stuff is for you. That's your time, your personal space. I get it. But for the rest of you, it helps me when I get to see you and be a part of it. So thank you guys for being here. Appreciate you guys being here. So day 3 of the sleep challenge, we've covered a lot. What I want to do as we get dialed into today, I told you there's prizes, there's special opportunities, and for those who participate the most, get the most opportunities for the prizes. It just works that way. So what I want to hear from everyone here, those of you who are here on Zoom, I want to hear from some of you on what your realizations are before I show everyone on Facebook my front foyer. There we go. All right, very good. Raise your Zoom hand. Let me know kind of what you've realized, what you saw, what's been different, what's been different in your sleep patterns. Remember, we yesterday we talked about the mind and we talked about what the mind has to cover. But share with me what you've learned, what you've come through, and how your sleep has been over the last couple of days as you're implementing some of these tools. Who'd like to start first? And as you're doing that, I want to congratulate those of you who've gone ahead and did your homework, right? I saw Carissa did her homework. I saw Debbie did her homework. I saw Patricia did her homework. Hui, I saw you did your homework and you did the assignments with it. So when you did the assignment, what was the big realization? What did you see? What was the value? What was the impact of doing that for yourself? And if you don't participate, here's what happens. It's really simple. I pick on you. It's really simple. So you might as well do it yourself. Why is everyone so fucking quiet today? Are you guys like, what's your story? Everyone's like, oh, I'm not gonna talk today. What's the story here? I'm not sure. Patricia says I stayed more conscious. All right, great. You guys don't want to participate easily. I'm gonna pick up. Carissa, tell me. Carissa's first. Jenny, you're second. Seraphin, you're third. And Mary, you're fourth. What do you got, Carissa?
Sorry, I had to go to a different room or you weren't going to hear me.
Yeah, that's all right.
Um,
What's been the real
so
shifted? What's changed?
for me, it was actually being conscious about exactly from hour to hour or every 2 hours what my brain was doing and what emotions I was actually having, and not just pushing it aside or trying to do other things to ignore it, but actually consciously thinking about what it is that I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And when I did that, I was realizing, okay, why am I feeling this way? Like I could actually analyze what was causing that. And then from there, that made it so that I could either rewire it on the spot if it was something big that needed attention,
Yeah.
or I could put it in the back of my mind and say, okay, this is exactly what I'm going to rewire tonight when I get home. So before I go to bed, so that it's not starting to set into my system. So
Beautiful. Genius work right there. That's genius work right there. Let me tell you, first thing that you did, there's so many steps that you took inside that. For those of you who were listening and paying attention to what she did was so smart. She first got conscious. What we call that is conscious awareness. She got conscious awareness in finding out what is going on with her mind in that piece of homework. That's why we did that yesterday. We wanted to see what was the conscious awareness that someone's going through. The second piece of that, she knew the tools to be able to rewire herself right there on the spot. Bam, fix it whatever she could so that she doesn't stay in that emotional state and create that feeling. We talk about intention and creation. Well, what if you just continue to stay in that feeling, in that state? You would continue to create all the bad juju, so to speak, right? Third piece of this puzzle is that what she did is said, you know what? I'm going to go address it. If I can't do it right now, I'm going to address it before I get to the point of sleep so it doesn't get into my subconscious mind and then become something that lingers in my body through the evening. So great work, Carissa. Great job every step of the way. Let's give it up for that. Great job. Great work. I don't remember who I said was going second. So who did I say was going second?
I think it was me.
Well, then it is now you. It's now you.
Uh, actually, I was a little perturbed, not until the end of the night last night, because yesterday I started it after the thing, and through the whole day it was inspiration. So last night I started, once I hit the 9 o'clock, I'm thinking, okay, well, that can't be right. So why is it always I fall within that? And even when I thought about yesterday morning, and I think I tried to think back, and about a year ago, I had been dealing with in process possible divorce, and at that time, I protected myself.
Sure.
So I insulated myself from other people's how they reflect on me. Like I didn't realize till last night I put a block up. I won't let other people's influence happen on me, right? I made my decision that I only care about what I feel and what I think, and not what I think, actually. I do take in other process, but if it doesn't align with my values, I kick it out. It's nothing to me. And so because of that, I think it's allowed me to fall in inspiration the whole time, but I don't know that that's healthy. So that was the first thing. I was just recognizing that, okay, I need to spend some time backtracking to find out if in this process I did what was healthy for me or just protective for me. Of
Beautiful awareness. Beautiful awareness. Great job every step of the way there, right? So can I walk you through that a little bit? Would that be okay, Jenny?
course, of course.
So let's talk through that, right? Because what I heard there was a lot of I'm going to do what's in my values and I'm not going to care what's not in my values, correct? Like a lot of that, right?
Yeah.
So I want you to understand that if we look at the zones of inspiration, the zones of inspiration are certainty, love, enthusiasm, gratitude, grace, uh, those types of emotions. But if we look at the zones of desperation, they're emotions of judgment, guilt, shame, anger, resentment, pride, infatuation. And in the language that you're using, now I could be wrong, I could be a total moron in this, but in the language you're using, I want you to just be cautious of are you using inspiration as pride and happiness? Or are you realizing that inspiration is love and gratitude? Because love and gratitude is a different frequency than pride. Pride is it's about me because the more you fall into pride, the more you'll actually fall into resentment. So what you just said is that I was in all this state of inspiration all of a sudden, and then I got to this point at 9 o'clock, and I said the opposite started to happen. That typically is more pride than it is inspiration. I don't know. I'm just bringing the question to our awareness.
I wasn't upset, or like, actually, when we look at the list, judgment, guilt, shame, anger, pride, blame, criticism, I didn't feel that at night. It was, could something be out of whack? Because how would my whole day be inspiration? And when I tried to backtrack, okay, to the previous days, it's been that way for a long term, but that's where I got to. Well, it has, because I don't let other people influence me, right? I mean, they can give their opinion, but it's not going to, it's irrelevant to whatever my value is, right? I just,
This is exactly what I'm saying. Right there is that language, that piece right there is what I'm trying to catch with you. Right there is that piece that actually is putting you into pride rather than gratitude.
okay.
Right there is that I've just done this with hundreds of thousands of people, and I just know this. When someone says, I don't really give a shit about what anyone else says, I care about what I value, that is a very dangerous place, right? When in our world, in that is the place where I have my blinders onto everything else. Because here's the reality is that everyone's values do impact your values.
Yeah.
And the secret to that is not to care about anyone else's, what they're saying and their values. It's to embrace.
Okay.
There's a difference between the two.
Okay.
And that's what I'm kind of coercing you to try and come to see,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And so it's great. I mean, this discussion is so valuable because you know what? If someone said the same thing to me, it's like, well, you don't care about anyone else's things. You don't care. No, it's not that I don't care. I just know what I am, right? And a couple times in this conversation, you're using this language that's telling me that, okay, I went through this potential divorce, and from that, I learned to protect. And that protection says, I don't give a shit about anybody else anymore. I got to care about what I do, and all I care about is what I care about. That's a dangerous place from the standpoint of where I'm coming from. I'm glad it's working for you, but it's protecting you versus embracing all of it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right. And thank you for your vulnerability and honestly, your candor, just to be open, allowing me to kind of walk you through that. Because it's not easy to sometimes hear that, right? Not easy to sit and say, hey, look, what is that? Like, I'm in pride. Well, fuck you. That just means you're right. Like I totally get it. So I say that to you with great job in that, but just great awareness in that, right? Great awareness. Inspiration, love, gratitude, and certainty are states of balance. When you don't value someone, when you're like, I care about what I care about, that's actually sympathetic. It's a protective mechanism that we hold on to. So we just got to be cautious of that. So great job. Let's give it up for Jenny for being so real with us, right? Great job. Fantastic. Okay, let's keep going. Who did I say was next? I don't remember. Oh, you guys are volunteer. Sarah, I said. That's right. That's right.
Thanks for asking. I slept really well last night. Just doing some really nuts and bolts stuff that you recommended. I work a call center job until 1 a.m.
Wow.
And when I finished my shift, I took a warm shower, pulled the curtains to keep the sun out. You know, when the sun comes up. My wife and I did the box breathing exercise, and we also had some great sex, and slept like a stone.
That's good for sleep. Definitely good for sleep.
Yeah, it really worked.
It definitely does. Great. I love that. I love to hear that. Love to hear that you did the breathing. And I'm not going to call it box breathing. I'm calling it rewire breathing from now on. I'm creating my own name. It's no longer box breathing. That's someone else's term. It's now rewire breathing. Okay. It's rewire breathing. Rewire breathing. That's what we're doing. Actually, I have rewire meditations that I've never released to anybody. And my daughter's like, you've got to get these to the world. I'm like, I will. I'll get it out there one day.
Yeah, please do.
Do a recording. And she goes like, everyone will buy these. I'm like, I don't know. So I got to start doing some of that stuff.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Cool. Appreciate it. Thank you. Let's give it up for him. Great job. I don't remember who I said was last. I said one more. Who did I say was next? One or two
It was
more?
me.
It was
Mary.
you.
There might be another Mary. It's a common name.
Well, no, I think you're the Mary. You got your name. You got your hand up. Tell me.
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you to you and your team. I'm blown away and fascinated with you guys and what you do and the amount of value that you add. I did your other event that you had recently, and thank you so much for offering to do the VIP and then getting the other event at the end of the month, or May, maybe you said. But I have to agree.
April, not May.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have to agree with Carissa when she was talking about checking in. That was big because I do that, but not on a every couple hour basis. You know, it might be like in the morning and when I'm flustered or whatever, but that was big. And Jenny as well, just the language, what we say out loud, or our thoughts. It plays a huge role on our reality and what comes into it. And I'm sure you heard of I can't ever pronounce it. It's like a Hawaiian prayer, Ho'oponopono.
Ho'oponopono.
Yeah. When I start getting racing thoughts and stuff, I try to do that instead of thinking about whatever I'm thinking about, and it kind of helps me go. And I did have a question. I don't know if that would be the time to ask or not, but
We'll do questions afterwards, but go ahead. I mean, we'll
I'm just curious, like, today's disgusting outside. If I can't get natural sunlight when I go out, is it okay to just be outside in the light, or does it need to be real sun? Or is that like I would, and I guess I don't want to just buy any type of red lights or blue light blockers, any type of brands that we should look for and stuff, but I can wait for that to ask.
Well, let me
But
answer this. The question was, for those of you on Facebook, the question was, what if it's not nice outside and you can't get sunlight? What do you do if it's cloudy? You go outside, you still get light in wherever
okay,
we're at, right? Obviously, I'm not asking
natural
you to
light,
buy a bunch of
natural.
light or anything like that, but you can go outside and just it's not sunlight, but there's UV light and
Okay.
there's right and UV dangerously, like cautiously you want to take, of course. But yeah, you just want to get whatever you can.
I do. I notice a difference from doing that. And I stopped watching TV for years. I stopped watching the news for years. And then I had some people, mention some things to me, and every now and then I'll put like Game of Thrones on at night to relax and stuff. I can't do that, especially right before bed. I'm having crazy dreams. And so I think I'm going to do a bath tonight. And I like to journal and do gratitude and stuff before bed. But I don't think I realized how much the parasympathetic and the sympathetic could affect the sleep and like where I'm at with that. I'm still trying to figure all that out. But these 3 days or have been so great, and I'm looking forward to using all these tools because I have had trouble with sleeping most of my life, but I was working so hard that I was kind of like sleeping somewhat decent. And if once I wasn't doing a job where I was kind of like working my body so hard, I didn't sleep the same. So I don't have trouble falling asleep. It's staying asleep and getting that REM and everything. I wake up a decent amount, but I try to keep the room dark and cool. And I just love getting all these tools because it's extremely helpful.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. Great work. Great work. Let's give it up for Mary. Great job. I want to send one message. Amanda, I sent a message on WhatsApp. Can you and Debbie make sure that happens? I want this call to happen, not the challenge, not the mastery calls. Did you hear that? Give me a confirmation that you get that. Thank you. All right. Okay. Debbie, go ahead.
Thank you so much for yesterday because I finally slept. I think I slept about 10 hours. I didn't really count it because I was able to release, if that's the right wording, that my past experience is just that. It's a past experience. And changing the word from trauma to past experience, I no longer have to tell that story. It's just a past experience. I was so tired. It was released. My body was relaxed and it was wonderful. So thank you. Just that little bit. I didn't journal, so I'll post yesterday's today, but I just fell asleep. I was like so happy. That was my ZOI. I was like, I'm happy.
I love that.
Longer my hell. Thank you.
I appreciate that. It's amazing. Great job. Great job, Debbie. Clarinda, you're good. You can hang out here. If my mastery students who are jumping around, no, you should be here. There should be no mastery call. That's an error on our communication. Please understand that. So don't go to your mastery call. Get over here. And if you're not over here, then I don't know what you do. I got nothing. I got nothing with that. So yeah, if you have friends who are accidentally in that call, they should be over here. That's an administrative side on our side. That was an issue. So please make sure you're over here. Okay, great. For those of you on Facebook, thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for being a part of it. Let's just kind of recap a little bit of what we covered, right? Over the last couple of days. What we've covered, we talked about the mind, we talked about the sympathetic part of the mind, we talked about the parasympathetic part of the mind, we've talked about the sleep patterns of REM sleep versus your deep sleep, and how REM sleep is for the mind. And we talked heavily on Monday about mitochondrial function. We're going to bring that conversation back a little bit today. And we talked about the mitochondria in the brain and how sleep is so important for you to be able to recover, rejuvenate, and why mitochondria are affected both physically and emotionally, or mentally, excuse me, in the way that you sleep. Now, people ask the question, how much sleep should you get? Should it be 7 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours? Anywhere between 7 and 9 hours consistently is good. Anywhere between 7 and 9 hours is consistently is good. And if you can get closer to 8, which is probably better, they say, right? And I'll talk more about that inside of it, inside of where we're at today. Where I want you to focus that yesterday we talked about the unshakable mind. Now today we'll move the conversation to the body. Let's move today's conversation to the body. For those of you who you have the recordings in VIP, so please make sure you go get the recordings and watch the recordings for yourself if you don't have them or you haven't watched them yet. Please make sure you go back and watch them. Now, I want you to think about this from the standpoint of this. Okay, we talked about the human body as its structures. In the mind is about the way that you think. The body is the way that you feel. Think, feel. Think, feel. But you are a thinking, feeling organism. How many people got what I just said? Right? You can't feel without thinking, and you can't think without feeling. Think about that just for a minute. You can't have one without the other. So I feel this way. Well, you have to have thoughts that make you feel. I think this way. Well, you can't think that way without feeling in a certain capacity. Both of them are completely intertwined in our conversation. So no matter what you do, you can't separate the two. So when we look at sleep as a facet of our health, as a facet of what we want to do with our health and recovery, we have to realize that our sleep is designed to calm our mind and calm our body. We should be sleeping about an hour and a half of REM sleep per night. About an hour and a half of REM sleep per night. And we should be sleeping at least an hour and 10 minutes, an hour of 10 minutes, hour and 10 minutes for deep sleep per night. Excuse me, an hour and a half, pardon me, an hour and a half for deep sleep as well. Now I'm going to start introducing you to some terms today that you haven't heard before, or maybe you have, at least not from me in this conversation, but things in our body that allow us to sit and say, how do we test our body to see that it's actually recovering? How do we test our body to see that it's actually getting the sleep it needs? How are we testing our body to see that it's working correctly? Now, the way that it functions, the way that it works is important for us to realize the amount of pressure and stress we're putting on ourselves and the amount of breaks that you put on yourself. Most people in today's world don't stop. They don't put the brakes on enough. And what they do is that they go, 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 and they don't slow the system down. And we really, especially in America, we really live in this cultural world where the human experience is about achieving more, being more, doing more, rather than being who you are. How many people would agree to that sentiment in some capacity, right? You go to work all day long, you go at night, and it's like, where's the time for you? And I think when we think about the idea that self-care and self-love are two different things, it's wise to understand that self-care is one thing, but self-love is a completely different thing. And you can't love yourself if all you're doing is chasing on the outside. And you can't love yourself if all you're doing is doing nothing and recovering and you're not providing any value. So our human body is designed to serve, to move forward and create action. It's also designed to rest and recover. Now, I'm saying that because people think that the secret to rest and recovery with our body is the way that you sleep. Let's stop that conversation right there. The secret to your rest and recovery is how much you move. What you talking about, Willis? Say that again. Say it again. Say it again, Willis. Say it again. The secret to your rest and recovery is actually not how much you rest. The secret to your rest and recovery is the amount that you move. The amount of movement you create in your body determines the amount of rest you'll actually get at night. Because here's the thing that'll happen is that you're going to step into the cycle of saying, okay, well, I'm tired. I just need to rest. I just need to rest today. And I'm going to take it easy today. And I'm going to do the same thing tomorrow. I'm going to do the same thing the third day. I'm going to do the next thing. And all of a sudden a week goes by and you haven't moved. You've gotten yourself a total cumulative 2,000 steps a day from here to the kitchen, to the fridge, to the bathroom in circles in that pattern. And you're like, oh, great. I don't have any steps. And what happens is your entire body says, oh, I don't need to move. I'm heavily sedated into parasympathetic during the daytime. How many people got that? You're in parasympathetic during the day versus the night. And when you're in parasympathetic during the day, because you haven't moved, you're not doing anything. All you're doing is looking at the TV, looking at a screen, looking at the super sexy Indian doctor who's telling you about sleep all day long. If that's all you're doing, then you're missing the point of the body. The body's point is to move. It is the greatest organism that's out there that you can have. The ability to get up and move and contract these muscles and get the body moving is an essential component of life. And if we're not doing that, we're literally telling the body that during the daytime, when it's supposed to be sympathetic time, movement, activity, action, we're saying we're now in parasympathetic. That's why sitting is worse than smoking. Believe it or not, sitting is not the new smoking. Sitting is worse than smoking. If all you do is you sit on your rump all day, then you are literally walking down an earlier grave. Now, I don't know the statistic on this, but at least 10 years. And I'm going to break it down. Why? In just a minute. I'm going to get very scientific today. Because your physical body has the activity of muscle contraction. At night, if you don't move during the day, the body's going to stay in balance no matter what you do. So if you take it and put the parasympathetic during the day, then what happens at night? Sympathetics kick on. And now your mind is awake. Now you can't go to sleep. Your adrenal glands are functioning. And now the body's saying, well, I got to have balance of both. You put me in parasympathetic during the day because you didn't move. You didn't contract any muscles. You didn't do anything to get my body activated to burn off the sugar. Now I have all this sugar in my system. I got to burn it off at night. Now the brain stays on. The mind stays active. The body keeps moving. And you're like, oh, why can't I go to sleep? Because the mind is burning all the energy that you've stored up during the day. How many people got what I just said? Okay. So the secret to sleeping at night is moving your ass during the day. You can quote me on that one, right? If you can't sleep at night, I love how everyone wants to blame everything else, right? It's because of the blue light. It's because of the red light. It's because of the caffeine. It's because of this thing. It's because you're not using your body. It's because you're not using your body, period. Your entire body, the physical body, is built on one term. We used this term the other day, your metabolism. Your metabolism dictates your life. And metabolism is two terms called anabolism and catabolism, which is how you manufacture energy. So if you are literally, right, literally taking energy in, which is food and sugar in carbohydrates and eating pastas and breads, we can blame enriched fortified flour, we can blame gluten and celiac and blame all these things. But if you're eating things, if you're eating food that you're putting into your system and you're not burning off that sugar, your body says, I've got to do something with this sugar. And two things are going to happen. One, it's going to keep you awake at night because it's trying to burn off that excess sugar. And then if you sit and say, well, I finally get tired, I got to go to sleep. And if your mind finally says it's time to go to sleep, it says, well, the body has to do something with this. It stores it as fat. How many people got it? That's why I love it when you go to these Italian restaurants and everyone has, I'm going to have a fettuccine Alfredo. And then they bring you this giant thing, a fettuccine Alfredo. We can blame folic acid and enriched white fluid or white flour, all we want to. All that, you can blame all of it as you want to. Or we can realize that maybe you're eating too many carbs at night and your mind is staying awake. Watch this. How many people, guaranteed, know that you've had that pasta, know that you've had that heavy pizza, whatever it is you had at night, and then you felt lethargic after your meal? Right? Of course you did. Stomach felt heavy. 2 hours afterwards, if not 3 hours afterwards, you had energy and you couldn't fall asleep. How many people realize that? Because initially it'll sit in your stomach and now you're sitting there saying, oh, okay, I've got all this food in my stomach. I feel so heavy, lethargic, because your insulin spikes, which is your sugar processing hormone. It spikes and it has to take all the energy, it has to go from all over the body into the stomach to process all that heavy food. And it says, I got to do something to burn off this sugar. And because we live in such a movement-oriented society, sarcasm, what we're going to do is we're going to take our food and then we're going to go and we're going to sit our asses down and watch Game of Thrones or 24 or any entertainment value that you want to, right? You can ask them to sit, or Severance, or some of these shows that I know, right? And you're going to sit down, you're going to watch TV, not going to move the rest of the night, no activity gets done. And then the body says, why am I still awake at night? Why am I still awake at night? Because you put too much sugar into the system. What is sugar? Sugar is energy. Sugar is energy. If this is making sense, put yes in the chat box. For those of you on Facebook, if this is making sense, put yes as well. I know you're saying it jokingly, pasta for breakfast, but I have all my carbs before noon. I don't do carbs after noon. And that there's a reason for that, right? Because what's going to happen, people are like, well, and I've heard, right? A lot of trainers, right, who are built like Matt will say, have pasta, have carbs at night, fast all day, have carbs at night because you'll get the serotonin rush. Cool. If you look like Matt, do whatever the hell you want to. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Right? If you have muscles like he does, and about 200 pounds of muscle on you, you have the storage capacity of muscle and glycogen. But most people don't have that. That's just the truth of it, right? Most people don't have that. And so if you don't have that much muscle, that sugar's got to go somewhere. And muscle is the storage for glycogen, which is sugar. So we got to be careful. We want to be careful of that. So we've reversed these two capacities in our day and nighttime factors. So that's why I will tell you now, as we talk about the body part of sleep, in the deep sleep cycle, it's so essential to realize that deep sleep is how you've treated your body during the day. Your deep sleep will look at how you've treated your body during the day. And if you've moved and you've burned calories and you put activity into your day, then all of a sudden, your body says, okay, we've activated the sympathetic nervous system during the day. Now I got to activate the parasympathetic to be in balance at night. And when that happens, your body releases melatonin. And when your body releases melatonin, now your body says, oh, it's time to go to bed. Now the circadian rhythm starts to make sense to your cycle of life. It makes sense to the cycle that you have. Okay? Everyone with me so far? Okay, now let's introduce another term and another idea that may be helpful. Okay? So for those of you on Facebook, I hope this is making sense. I hope you guys are with me so far. And if you want to join us in the VIP room, they can put the link to join us in the VIP room in that, right? So at night, when you sleep during well, not even at night, during the day and at night, you have something in your body called your HRV. How many people have heard of this term before? HRV, okay? Your HRV, it regulates your sympathetic versus parasympathetic activity. It's regulating this. Okay? It regulates this. And when your sympathetic and parasympathetic activity are working, you have to look at it and say, okay, what is your normal level? Now, I know you're going to ask me, first thing you're going to ask me, what, Dr. T, what should my HRV be? Everybody's is different. Everybody's HRV is unique to your nervous system frequency. If your sympathetic nervous system is overactive, your HRV is going to be lower. If your parasympathetic is active, it's going to be higher.
Oh.
I know, Anil, pretty amazing, right? And so what happens is that most people don't realize what the nervous system tone is. So if your sympathetic nervous system is low, is overactive during the nighttime, your HRV drops and gets low. If you've actually rested and relaxed your mind and have put your mind at ease and can sleep properly, then what happens is your parasympathetic kicks up and your HRV becomes higher in that state. So I would recommend that you have some way of measuring this for yourself. I would recommend you have some way of measuring this for yourself. You can use Oura rings, Ultra rings, an 8-sleep bed. You can use your watch, whatever it is you want to do. I don't care. And I don't care what the number is. What I care about is the pattern of the number. It's like people say, I weigh 175 pounds on this scale. But over here on this scale, I weigh 163. So that's the better one. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to tell you right now, your weight is irrelative. Weight is irrelative in the conversation. What matters is to use the same scale so that you get the pattern of gain and loss. Does that make sense, everybody? That matters more than anything else. So the right scale says, oh, okay, cool. This is what I am today. Let me measure again on that scale. Like people don't realize this. You can ask you can ask Amanda. I travel with a scale. I have a travel scale I go everywhere with. Every single place I go, I have that scale. That scale is the same scale I measure every day. So when I go from city to city, like this month I'm in Miami, Costa Rica, Miami, New York, Denver, Napa Valley, back to LA, back to Chicago. That's 2.5 weeks of my life. That scale will travel with me all across the world because that's the only way I can govern and manage what's going on with my fitness. How many people get this, right? You can't manage. If you don't measure it, you're not managing it. Okay? Whatever you're not measuring, you're not managing. Your HRV is not to determine whether something people get so freaked out about it, like, my HRV is low today. Oh my God, am I gonna die? No, it just means you're stressed. Relax. Calm the fuck down, people. It's okay. You guys are too serious today. I need to crack some more F-bombs and get some jokes going with you guys. This HRV is a variable that you want to see. There are times in my life where I've gone through stressful periods and my HRV is low. Now, the interesting thing is you're going to try and control your HRV mentally. And the more you try and control your mind on the HRV, the more you stress on it, the lower you bring the HRV. How many people get that? Right? You mess yourself up with it. Okay? This HRV is looking at the regulation of your system. Now, when you're looking at your HRV, you're also looking the amount of stress and strain. You can get a Whoop band. I'm not a huge fan of the Whoop, but that's not really accurate. It has the amount of pressure you can put on your body to get the result you're looking for. Most people under exercise, and what they call as exercise is not really exercise. It's barely even warm up. Okay. What that means is if you go on a light casual walk at 2.5 at 0 degrees incline on the gym, you are not exercising, my friend. Okay. That is not exercise. That is a leisurely walk with a couple that's about to do what Seraphin did last night. Right. That is not an exercise routine. And maybe afterwards is the exercise routine, part of it, part of the process. But you have to put some strain on your body. If you're not putting any stress or strain on your body, you are actually not helping your cause. And so people look at it and say, well, how do I get better sleep, better deep sleep? Put more pressure on the body. And I will tell you with 100% certainty that, and I will say it till the last day I'm alive, lift weights, lift weights, lift weights. I don't care. I don't care if you say, I'm weak, I can't lift, start somewhere. My mother is 73 years old. I took her to the gym. She had a broken hip. I have her lifting weights. Because the only way to burn off the sugar that's in your system is by exercise. I said burn off. I didn't say store. Okay? So if you're burning that sugar and exercising at the same time, what happens is the body says, oh, I'm using the sugar up. At night, when you have excess sugar, what happens to the brain? You should go look this up. I'm not going to do it right now, but go look at the brain when you have sugar at night, dessert at night, what it does to your brain. It lights up every area of the brain, just like cocaine does. And you're like, well, why? We're going to talk about diet tomorrow. This is just about the body, the physical body. So if you're not exercising, you're not training, you're not putting stress on the system, you're not going to put yourself in the tone to then fall asleep at night. You're not going to put yourself in a state to get recovery, need recovery What are you recovering from? What are you recovering from? Thinking all day. Cool. Then that's going to be the thinking part of the sleep that you'll get through, but your body won't ever get there. Here's the interesting thing. Circling back on the conversation I was having at the beginning of the day, beginning of the conversation. Thinking is mental. Feeling is physical, is the body. You have to go through phases of deep sleep to get to REM sleep. It's not separated. You go light, awake, light sleep, deep sleep, REM sleep. So you actually can't get to the mind shutting off unless you get the body through the body. How cool is that as a system? How cool is that as a system? So somebody's like, man, I just wake up tired. I wake up tired. I get it why you wake up tired. Completely makes sense why you wake up tired, because your body's not dropping in to the mind part of it. And so when you're looking at it and saying, okay, I've got to get this sleep. I've got to get recovery. First thing you do is, like, you start sleeping in the morning with the vitamin D, you start exercising first thing in the morning. Make your body get tired. That's the funny part of it. We don't use the body enough to get tired. We're like, I got to go to sleep. We've got to make the body tired. We've got to use it. Exercise. I would tell you right now, if you're not exercising, it's a must. It's just a must that you have to do, because the mitochondria that you have, that mitochondria need to burn energy and oxygen through the system. And that in itself, right? That in itself is essential for metabolism to work. I'm sure my team will turn this into a bunch of TikTok videos and Instagram videos and that, right? There's lots of that information, but think about the comprehensive nature of what we're talking about here. If your mind is active with all the roots and the emotions of the day, but the body doesn't move, then you've done really nothing to get to the mind. We've done nothing to get to the mind piece. We've got to move the body and the mind. 94% of the serotonin in your system, which is a precursor to melatonin, is made in your stomach. 94% of the serotonin that's made in the serotonin is made in the stomach, that goes to the brain, that gets your brain to shut off and activate the parasympathetic nervous system. So again, if we go back and sit and say, okay, if I eat processed food, processed sugar late at night, the body never gets to release serotonin to release melatonin, because melatonin is the thing that's going to make you go to sleep. What it's going to have is cortisol up in the brain, and the brain is going to then get cortisol inflammation. Okay. I'm going to go back and circle. Okay. Is this making sense? I know I'm really going pretty deep into stuff. I wasn't expecting to go this deep. Is this valuable? Good. If you allow yourself to eat late at night, your brain goes into cortisol. Oh, this is what I was going to say. How many people would like to lose a little bit of weight? Better question. How many people would like to lose some fat? Okay. Then number one, if you're on Ozempic, get off that shit. Okay. If you're on any of these GLP-1s, get off that shit. Let me rephrase my statement. I can't tell you to get off that shit. Talk to your doctor, then get off that shit. Okay? Because your weight is irrelevant. Your body fat is relevant. I don't care if you weigh 200 pounds. Matt, what do you weigh? 210? 225. Muscle. He's muscle. He's probably, what, 12, 13% body fat? A little bit lower than that? 10%. What, put it in there, right? Whatever it is. But he's a big dude. He's a big guy. Right? And think about this. So that weight is irrelative, because if you look at your body mass index, BMI, they're going to say, well, he's overweight. He's got too much of a BMI. Makes no difference. He's all muscle. He's all muscle. And someone who is all muscle is going to have a higher BMI. Your body weight, it doesn't matter. Your body fat matters. Your body fat percentage matters. So for men, you want to be ideally between 14, ideally 12, 10, to 20%. Women, you want to be between 18 and 24%. Right? So what you have to realize is that when you start taking these medications and GLPs and think, I'm just going to lose weight, you're missing the point of what you're trying to lose. Because weight is accumulation of muscle, water, fat, bone density, all these things. And when you don't eat properly, you don't exercise properly, you are taking weight away from muscle, not fat. Because understand this one principle. If you understand nothing I say, but you understand this principle, you have made yourself a hell of a lot healthier. All fat is because of excessive stress. Period. Exclamation point. How you create excessive stress on the body is the point. You could put excessive stress on the body by eating too much. You could put excessive stress on the body by eating too little. You could put excessive stress on the body by being in a state of pride. Or you can put excessive stress on the body by not giving a shit about anything. You could put excessive stress on the body by working too much and not taking care of yourself and relaxing. You could put excessive stress on the body by eating too much fat. Too many avocados can do that, right? So what I want you to understand is that stress equals fat. So therefore, if stress equals fat, how do we lose fat? When is the time of the day that the body is supposed to be off stress? Put in the chat box. At night. Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. Oh my God. During sleep. So what happens is this, my friends, is that if you want to lose fat, but you work out and you fast and you do all these amazing things, but you only sleep 3 to 4 hours a night, you just fucked yourself over. It didn't make a difference what you did because you didn't give your body the time to go into the parasympathetic where it actually loses fat. And you added more fat to your system and put more stress to the system and put more cortisol to the system. And what happens is the body breaks down, and then we go and sit and say, oh my God, I don't know, this intermittent fasting thing, it's not working. Or this weightlifting thing, it's not working. It's not, maybe you're weightlifting and you're putting your body in a starvation state. And when you're in a starvation state, your body says, oh, I don't want that. I can't do that. I got to store it as fat. Because the body is smarter than you or I consciously ever will be. I want you to realize that. It cares more about its survival and knows how to survive more than you or I consciously do. It has figured it out. It's been doing it for millions of years. And it's been surviving this whole time. So what happens is this, is your brain says, okay, well, I'm going to put this all into fat. And then you gain weight. And then you have cholesterol issues and triglyceride issues. And then you go to the doctor and they say, well, you've got to go on this GLP-1. That's the only solution you have to losing weight. What if you said to the doctor, hey, what if I slept more? No, that's not going to do anything. They're wrong. Because they don't understand physiology. You lose fat when you sleep. When you exercise, train, and use your body during the day, you tear it and break it apart. At night is when you repair it and relieve it. So during the day, believe it or not, you accumulate fat through cortisol by putting stress on it. At night, you remove fat by removing cortisol, by allowing your body to go into that melatonin cycle. Okay, looking at your eyes right now, I see glazed eyes. I've lost you now. Is this too much? I've gone too far. I've gone too far. I've gone too far, Amanda. I've lost them. They're nowhere with us anymore. I've done it. Eventually, she said, stop over delivering. People are going to lose their minds with all of your knowledge and teaching. Your HRV is determining the pattern. Here's the thing I want you to realize. Okay, now I just gave you a ton of information. Now, let me give it in practical use. So today, I woke up and my HRV was lower than normal. I was tired. I slept 8.5 hours today because I wanted to push a little bit more in my sleep. And so I said to myself, okay, great. I'm gonna sleep. So I slept 8.5 hours, which is more than I normally do. But I said, okay, I'm gonna allow myself to do that. And I woke up and I checked my HRV. My HRV was lower than normal. I said, okay, today's now a recovery day. Because my body is telling me it's time to slow it down so that I can reset, recover from all the work that you did. Don't put more on me right now. Don't put another project on me. Don't put more on me because I can't handle it. And the only way that the body knows how to communicate to you is by giving you a symptom, a sign, a signal. Okay, I am not answering your question, Anil. I said that I knew someone was going to ask me without fail. The body is giving you signs, signals to say, slow down. If you're putting on weight and putting on fat, that's a signal. That's a signal that you're putting too much stress on the system. Now that stress, you have to figure out what it is. That's the fun part of the game of health. Is it because I had a big dessert last night? Is it because I had too much tequila? Right? Like I know, I figured this shit out. Trust me. I like having a cocktail or two. I know it damages my brain. I don't care. Okay? I like having it once in a while. I'm a human being. I want to enjoy my life too. I get it. And so people are like, you're a doctor. I get it. That's cool. I get it. Right? But I know I'll have a couple drinks 2 days later. That next day, I will weigh 2 pounds heavier. And the day after that, I will lose that 2 pounds because it's water retention. And the only way I know this is because I measure this stuff. I'm measuring, I'm tracking exactly what's happening. So then your body says, oh, okay, great. So when you have HRV invariances, you're looking at your body and saying, am I too stressed out or am I not too stressed? Am I too stressed? My body said, look, between the 2 days, I wake up, I got up in the morning on Monday. I went, I had my shake and all that stuff. I went and did a leg workout, came back, did my exercise with oxygen therapy, did my cardio routine, did sauna, cold plunge. That was my morning before 7:30, 8 a.m. Okay, that was a lot of intensity. And then in the after, I worked all day, do all this train. This takes a lot of energy. All this LED light on me, all that takes a lot of energy off of me. And so I get tired. When I speak, it's very, very, very tiring, very energy consuming. And so by the end of the day, I get tired. Okay, great. So I did the same thing again yesterday. Right? And then in the evening, I did another cardio session. I do a cardio session in the morning and at night because I move. You've got to move. If you don't move, you're not burning any fat because you know what? All the food you're eating, all the steps you're taking, if you're not doing 10,000 steps, you're not burning the sugar. You're not using the body. And if you're not using the body's going to say, I'm not tired. And it's going to stay awake. And so then in the evening, I went and did it. So I slept last night, went to dinner, came back, watched my TV for a little bit. And I was like 9 o'clock, man. I'm like, I'm tired. My body was like, I'm tired. So I said, okay, locked in. No need for an alarm this morning. Go to sleep. Let your body rest and recover. I got up this morning. I looked at it. My HRV was a little bit lower than I normally was. My heart rate was a little bit higher. Tells me my sympathetic is active a little bit. Slow it down. Slow it down, buddy. Let's calm down. So I said, today's gonna be a recovery day. That doesn't mean that I don't move. That doesn't mean I don't get my steps. It doesn't mean I don't walk. It does, but it does mean I don't need to put myself through intense training. So what I did for me is I do a 30-minute cardio, like cardio session. That's when I'm doing the walk in the park type stroll because it's a recovery, active recovery. And then I sat in my sauna for 20 minutes. Cool, great. That's it. That's my day. And I'll do my walk in the park again this afternoon to make sure I'm still burning the calories. Is this making sense to everybody? I'm trying to just give you a real life example, right? To sit and say, it's not about pushing more. It's not about pushing more. That's why I got to knock in my son's head because he watches too much of this crap out there that you just got to do more. The Kobe Goggins videos that are out there, right? Do a little LeBron where you rest with it. So that being the case, okay, I've dumped too much content on you. 4 steps I want you to take today. 4 steps I want you to take today. I want you to focus on 10,000 steps a day. And if you're like, oh my God, Dr. T, I only get 2,000 a day, then make yourself have 10% increments. and add 1,000 steps every day until you get to 10,000 steps. It is ugly outside here. Okay. Second step I want you to do physically is I want you to make sure you stop eating late at night. Unless you're Matt and you're having protein and casein. I don't care. The rest of you, probably not. Third thing I want you to do. You guys gonna laugh when I say this. It's so simple. After you eat a meal, 20 squats. 20 squats. Here's why. You guys have all heard this thing called insulin before. And most people don't have a sugar problem, they have an insulin problem. When you go to your doctor and they check for your blood and they look at the blood sugar and they're like, oh, your blood sugar is good. It's within normal ranges, under 20. It's under, 94. It's under normal ranges. That is on the path to insulin resistance. I want you to get that. That is on the path to insulin resistance. The problem is not the sugar. The problem is the insulin. They don't measure the insulin. And when you don't measure the insulin, you can't actually do anything with the sugar. So I want you to get that. It's the insulin that's the issue. We've got to tackle the insulin issue. So how do we lower insulin? Is that whenever we eat, what you do is you sit and say, oh, okay, I put sugar in my body. Here's the cool thing. Here's the cool thing. It's exciting. You guys aren't going to really want to know this, are you? Like this is the cool part about it. When you actually work out and you contract your muscles after you put sugar into the body, muscle contraction automatically shuttles the sugar into it without needing insulin. Oh my God. We just created a hack. Non-insulin-based glycogenic movement. So instead of sitting on that couch, move. My dad used to laugh at my dad. He used to, after he eats, he would go on this walk, and my dad is like, he'd just go in circles. He looked like a hamster on a wheel, just walking in circles. I'm like, Dad, you look like a freak. But he's right. That's why. They don't understand it. They didn't understand the science, but they knew what they were doing. It's a longevity hack. If you simply do that after every meal, listen to this. This is really interesting. After every meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, let's assume that that's what you're eating, you literally just do a 10-minute walk or 25 squats. You will actually reduce your insulin and blood sugar levels more than a 30-minute cardio session. You won't burn fat. That's not what I said. Please listen. That's not burning fat. That is just shuttling sugar. Okay? It is a badass hack. I know. And last but not least, what I want you to do, last but not least, please, 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 go create a weightlifting routine 2 to 3 times a week. It doesn't have to be the super high intensity. I'm joining Peloton. I'm joining this crazy fitness gym. It doesn't have to be that, my friends. It has to be enough that's strenuous to the body, that the body says, wow, that was intense. But it shouldn't be to the point that you're so fatigued that you can't move. If you're exercising correctly, please listen to what I'm about to say. If you're exercising correctly, you should have more energy after the workout than before, than less. Okay? So what are the 4 things I said? Put it in the chat box. Someone give me a summary, because someone's going to ask for a summary. So put it in the chat box. What are the 4 action steps I told you to take? For those of you on Facebook, I hope this is valuable for you. Four steps, 10,000 steps a day. Stop eating late at night. After a meal, do 20 squats or a 10-minute walk. Great. And create a weightlifting routine 2 to 3 times a week. So what I'm trying to say, my friends, is you got to use your body. You got to use your body. Now, some of you are going to sit and tell me that I don't know why I'm going to do this. Because I've asked you to do some things that are probably outside of your comfort zone. How many people would say that some of these things are outside your comfort zone? Please raise your hand. I get it. Okay. But here's the problem. You have heard this idea that you got to know your why. And the why is more important than anything else. My friends, you already know your why. You know why you're going to do it. You know why you have to do it. The problem is not the why. The problem is the why not. Because you have some story in your head of why you can't do something. Because the brain isn't designed to move towards more difficulty. It's designed to move towards much more ease. So if in our heads we think that lifting weights is a hard thing to do, then we won't do it. See, Susan, what you're writing there is exactly what I want to avoid. What you just said is, regardless of comfort, I need to do these things, or I go, oh, you're going insane. Okay. I get what you're saying, right? But what I'm saying is that if you feel like you need to, or you have to do it, that's now stress on your mind, stress on your body, therefore increases cortisol. How many people just got what I just said? If you need to do it, it's stress. And if it's stress, it's now cortisol. If you love to do it, it's part of your life, it changes it. So what I want you to realize is that anything that you sit and say is so hard to do, that you got to travel and struggle to get to the other side, that's going to be a difficult task. That's going to be a super difficult task. You're going to eventually stop, and the why not will take over, right? So I have a worksheet for you guys today, your homework for today. Amanda, can we pull up the worksheet? All right. No, I don't want to do this. That's the movement coefficient. I don't want to do that. So here's the exercise I'm going to give you to do. I don't have a formal sheet because I thought it was something else. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to write down everything that you feel is hard, is going to be hard about these things that you're talking about. Okay, well, for example, going to I have to join the gym. Okay, great. I have to pay for a membership. Okay, great. I have to that's the only thing I really ask you. Whatever you put down, and each one of the four things, whatever you think is a challenge, a difficulty, I want you to list it out. And after every single one of those, I want you to just write 10 benefits to you. No carbs in the afternoon. There you go. Okay. Oh my God, that's going to be so hard. Okay. What's going to be hard? No carbs in the afternoon. What's 10 benefits to you of not eating carbs in the afternoon? You have to wake up early. Great. What are 10 benefits to you for you to wake up early? I don't care what it is, because your brain moves toward, it sees more pleasure than pain. It avoids pain to go towards pleasure. Have to have an early dinner instead of a late dinner. Fantastic. What's the benefit of an early dinner? It doesn't matter what it is. Any of the things that you write down, make sure that you write in what the benefit is. 10 benefits to all of them. Not digesting what I need. Okay, well, you can do that on your own. Food prep and keep snacking and poor choices. But we'll talk about food tomorrow, so to speak. Okay? All right, couple things. Number one, I talked to you guys about the Rewired Mind workshop coming up May 17th and 18th. And if you're interested in joining me in Chicago for a 2-day workshop where I'm going to go through and imagine you can rewire the things that are holding you back financially, physically, in your health, in your life, where you can sit down with me and get the results. Here's why I created this workshop. I was telling people this. Most people don't have the time to be able to participate in a longer program. And we have programs that are a year, 2 years, but what if the result is hard to do that? Second thing people always say is that, you know what, Doc, I just get better results when I'm in front of you. When I hold you accountable and you're in the room, you just get better results. And the third piece of the puzzle that people sit and say is that if you have a room full of people doing the exact same thing, the energy is consistent. How many people can see that, right? And so that's why I built this Rewire Mind workshop. It's a specific process, specific tools that I have never shared with anybody. It's not, for my Ultimate Rewire people, it's not Delta. It's a completely different thing. It's a completely different process. It will break through any limitations. I know some people have talked about wealth. Day one, we're going to work through a process. Day two, I'm going to focus on your wealth, your health, and your mission, and integrating all of that for your life so that you can walk away with all the pieces of the tools. So for those of you who are interested in doing that, it's not open to everybody. You have to apply, and I'm the person interviewing you. And so if you're not cool or you're a jerk, I don't want you there. Actually, that's not why I'm saying that. The reason I'm saying that is because I want to make sure that you are qualified. And I want to make sure you're cool, because I don't want to spend 2 days with you if you're not cool. I don't need to. So I'm just saying that too, right? That's the truth, right? Janelle's like, man, this guy's real. I'm like, totally real. I got no reason to lie. I'm almost 50 years old. I got 2.5 years till I'm 50. Why am I going to screw around, right? My dad said the best decade of his life was 50s. And I said, why? He said, because you stopped giving a fuck about everyone else. You realized you lived your life. And I was like, huh, that's interesting. I asked him when I was 40. And I think I'm starting to get it. Maybe my dad's wisdom is coming to me now, and I get it. So it is going to be a 2-day power packed workshop. So for those of you who want to join me, I want you to apply. You're not going to be talking to anyone on my team. You're talking to me directly. So if I get on that call, here's the thing: is if you don't show up or you're not on time for that call, I cancel you. I don't give you another opportunity. I charge $10,000, $50,000 a day to work with me. So if you're going to schedule a call with me and you don't show up, you don't get that opportunity again. It's done. You fucked it up. It's over. Sorry. I'm a doctor. I've spent many years of my life studying this. If you're going to disrespect my time like that, don't expect me to give you a second chance with it. I'm a little bit intense. I'm direct. That's why I get results. And if you can't handle that, you shouldn't be in a room with me. Is that pretty clear, direct with everybody? Right? That's how I get results. So that being the case, that is with respect to that. Number two is, I hope you find this valuable, because I am literally showing up and just, this is how the body works. Take these tools, apply them to your life. Take these tools, apply them to the people in your family. Because if you understand, I've spent better part of 30 years of my life putting the mind, body, and the whole system to understand it all. And I'm still working through it. I'm still learning new things to add to it. But it is a life-changing experience to understand that, to know it, and to be able to shift all of these things in your life. So use the tools, please. I hope that you're doing the work with it. Number three, or four, if you know people who are friends and families of yours that you think should be listening to this, invite them, right? There's no charge to this. For those of you in VIP have mortgaged out for $47. It's crazy, right? And so use the information, share it with your friends, share it with your family. My mission is simple, is I'm a health educator, right? One of the people that I looked up into in the world was a guy named Jack LaLanne. You guys remember Jack LaLanne? I looked up to him because to the last day of his life, what he did is he educated humanity about how living healthy is. And I hope to follow in those footsteps. I hope to do that for the world. I hope to change the world in that capacity. And if you help me help others, then we're able to change the world in that capacity. So for those of you on Facebook, thank you guys for being here. Appreciate you guys so much. If you'd like to jump into the VIP room and have a very detailed discussion where I'm going to be talking about DNA. We talked about DNA yesterday. I showed my daughter's DNA results and we went through that. I'm going to talk a little bit more about DNA probably this afternoon. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about diet. How do you optimize your diet for sleep? How do you optimize your diet for what to eat, what not to eat? How do you know what to put into your body so that you're sleeping correctly? So with that being said, Facebook, my friends, I see you tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel. I will talk to you.